Test, 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 test. Copy.
No, no, it's fine.
How are you? Were you waylaid with helmets or just?
Oh, I slept about a month's worth of sleep in a week. I mean, like 17 hours a day. It was-
Oh, just to offset those 17 hours. Work.
Apparently, we have mics. Yeah.
Exam. We need reading glasses. I'm officially in 45 now.
Welcome to readers.
They tried to sell me on buying them, but I was like. No, I'm like, I tried that.
Mine. Test, test, test.
They're blended. But there's.
Everybody turn your mics on, please. Mics on. Okay, entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I will make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I hear a second.
Second,
Move to second. Any other questions? Let's vote on it. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Department reports. Public Works got sick today and went home, and I didn't receive any paperwork on it. And so we move right down to police chief. You're up.
So just continuing the patrol emphasis, deterring the speeders, the taillights, that type of thing. We've been working pretty hard on that. We have now created what's called a community crime deterrent program. And we've identified Bill, if you raise your hand. Bill is going to be our commander for that program. Bill's a retired Navy Marine, has experience as a law enforcement officer, reserve officer. So he's going to be our lightning rod guy. He's going to prepare a flyer to send out to every household. And once we have all that information together, we'll identify a day and a time that will work good for everybody. The first meeting will probably be right here. The community will come in, we'll talk about the program, how we see it working out. The training will be part of that program. I don't want to spill too much of his thunder, so I'll be quiet about it. But he's going to run that for me, which is going to be a big help. As you know, last night we had a power outage here in the city of Toledo. So I was on patrol till about 2:15 in the morning, going through the businesses, making sure everything was secure. I thought it was very interesting because once I went through and checked everything, I went up on the hill, turned my lights off. And sure enough, we had 3 different cars come into Toledo real slow.
Should have been.
So they knew that the power was out. And so when they came across the funeral home, I spotlighted them up and man, they took off.
Thank you.
All of them trying to catch them and they just beat me right over the bridge. And so that would have been a perfect scenario for the crime deterrent program to be out and about. That's what we envision in the future. Other than that, I do have some other things that I'm working on, but I can't disclose any information on that. Obviously, they're cases. And then I think that's it, Mr. Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Any questions of the chief?
It was nice seeing you patrol last night. It was very, very dark.
Yes, very young. I was on with a big spotlight. I went to everybody's houses and I don't know.
Yes.
Woke anybody up or anything.
Thank you very much.
The first place I checked was the espresso stand.
Okay, clerk's office, Rachel, everything? Nada? City attorney's not here, so we'll move on to council reports. Emily?
Well, I had a bounty hunter come to my door. That was interesting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talked about here.
No. Somebody looking for a bad guy. So I can tell you more afterwards. So, but yeah,
Was he a local?
he's a local hunter. Yeah. So for 420 Pine Street. So,
Oh, I know who you're talking.
yeah.
No, I know that.
Yeah. So, there is some crime going on in Toledo that we should be thinking about as a council. I know the chief is well aware of that, but it is an issue that the city needs to be keeping an eye on. And so anyway, it just came to my door. So other than that, I've been volunteering at the city garden, the school garden here in town, and just kind of keeping an eye on the gardens, because that is one thing that I am in charge of looking over. And I would like to request a meeting. We haven't formally gotten a meeting together yet, but we need to get a meeting for our regularly scheduled meeting that we haven't had for a while. I don't think we've had
With
one
who?
this year.
With who?
Well,
Ground,
no,
Beach in Toledo?
no, the city parks, the park board. We haven't done a park board meeting yet this year and we need to do one. So, and that's it for me.
Okay, just to back up a little bit, our city attorney is here, Dana Williams was here. Did you have anything to report or just?
Although I believe I had some items that were on the agenda that Mr. Buzzard may have provided information to, including lease and a couple of other things, and I'm sure the council already has that.
Yes,
And so I was anticipating there might be some discussion about that, so I could answer questions about that. The other thing, I'll just consider this a report. I know there's been some concern here about how to add to the police force or enhance the public safety police part of things. I undertook to look at all the different funding methods. And we don't need to go into that now, but I'm fully aware of ways that the council can consider if you wish the information provided to you in order to collect certain additional taxes if necessary to provide for more police service. Police service, fire service, same thing, always comes to elected bodies. Hey, we need more police, we need more fire. And there's not the funding available that there even was 30 or 40 years ago. Back when they taxed the 1%, there used to be plenty of federal funding that you could ask for. And since they're on the street now, it's dried up. Basically, you can't get the kinds of things even upon that. But it's premature to talk about, what to do until perhaps a study group looked at it, has come up with the needs and then the budgetary needs, and then to ask for ways to talk about how to fund it. If you've got information that doesn't do that. That's not, most of it's made that we see.
Oh, okay.
But I reviewed that prior to the meeting, so that I would be able to address it.
Dana, did you see those reports I have, that she just handed you? Have you seen any of those?
No, I have not, but I certainly can read them and keep my quiet while the council takes up its additional business. That's all I have to report at this time.
Thank you, Dana. Eric?
Let's see. Well, I went to the plant growth committee, the county level committee with Todd Johnson and Steve Birch. They did a fantastic job of representing us. I'm sure Steve will go into more of that. Other than that, just having the flu.
Shelley?
Well, I don't know if it's anything really to report, but I wanted to share, I think I would like to, with everybody's blessing. I was made aware from someone that I know. I'm sure lots of people have heard of people who like to go around and do the geocaching. So there's an app that people can put on their phone where you can go around to historical sites and you get the clues within the city. And then, you get clues and then you solve a small puzzle, which leads you to the next maybe historical site or the next place within your city. It would be interesting, or I would like for us to maybe work with the school or and the historical society. I think it would be great if we could get something like that put together, added to that, and then also the link on our website. So when people come in to visit, it would lead them like through our town with, there's no, leaving or any of that. It's just virtual and then going to the site. So
That's a fun idea.
I just thought it might be with the summer coming up and people visiting, coming through.
A scavenger hunt sort of.
Kind of it is, yeah.
I've done geocaching for years. I can walk you through it. One rule that is hard and fast on how to play it, I believe you have to have 200 yards distance between the caches. And the town is already infested with caches. They're all over the place. There's one at the jail or one, but there's no reason a project could not draw them together.
Yes, This is just more like solving the puzzle to get the clue to get to the next place. It's really not about, you know, how the others, like you can leave and take or however that works. It doesn't have that part added to it. It's just an app that you have on your phone, and there's lots of different cities all over that you can join. And when you go, you just look to see if they have one, and then you can play wherever you are. Sort of like, it reminds me sort of a little bit of like Pokemon Go, what people would play, or like you never know where it's going to be. You have to solve the whatever to find it. Kind of like that. But yes, it's fun. So
They're actually doing that.
yes.
Here, I've actually contacted a few people just sitting out there playing
Yeah,
Pokemon.
they're playing, yeah.
Sorry, but they hold up with one, I'm just playing Pokemon. Right?
Are you okay?
Okay, Kathy,
I have nothing to report.
okay, Jamie,
Well, Eric and I both were in on the auditor's Zoom call with the treasurer. And, we determined that there's no way to get the rest of the information to her. So they are basically gonna wrap it up with the information that they have. And with the anticipation that next year is gonna be in better shape.
Yeah, they wanted potentially another $20,000 to extend the audit and try to get the information. And it sounds like our ledgers, general ledgers, if we can find them, are handwritten and not really able to be copied. And so it seemed $20,000 was bad money after, or good money after bad.
Ronald's suggestion to me before he left was that we take the hit. Don't put out any more money.
Yeah.
If we got a red flag, we got a red flag.
Yep.
But take a hit now because we don't have any more money to pay him.
Wait, I'm
Yep.
sorry, Ronald is gone.
Yeah, he left last Monday.
Yeah.
Okay. That is news to me. I'm sorry, I haven't read my emails in a while. Okay, yeah.
So, was there an exit interview?
I don't think we've had that yet. I think they're still gonna. They wanted that was what that meeting was about, is to decide if we wanted to make a change, so that they would then finish up and generate. It sounds like there's going to be a letter to management, which I kind of consider a yellow card, and a finding, which is kind of like a red card. So we can expect those to come.
You're talking about from the auditor?
Yeah, and so now they're going to finish up, and then I think there will be an exit interview at that point.
Yeah, that's not what I was.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
asking. I was asking about the treasurer's, was there an exit interview?
An exit interview?
Yes.
How about see you later? I'm out of here.
Okay, and did he turn in his keys?
Did you determine what?
He turned in his keys. Did he turn? in?
Yes, I got the keys, yes.
Okay, and were passwords changed?
And as you know,
sorry, what was the question?
So the passwords changed?
Yes, he turned in his keys. I will have Visions actually close down his part of the system, as far as like his email and stuff. I think Cindy has access to that, so we don't really have to worry about that.
He's off the bank account too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
oh yeah,
That was my
I took
question.
my bank right away.
Okay, because there was another thing I wanted to ask about is on the day that we were here on the Zoom call with the auditor, when it was over, I went out and I sat in my car because we were going to have another meeting that day. And he left with a big white garbage bag. Now, I've been in that office. I don't know, what would he be taking out in a big garbage bag and putting in his trunk?
It might have been trash, just because the way our trash system is set up, he might have taken his trash because he chews. And so he's got like cups of chew in his trash, so I'm sure he wasn't gonna leave it for me to pick up. I would assume. And his trash can was empty after he left, so
Okay. That was an awful lot of garbage.
he drank like 7 or 8 Red Bulls by the hour, so.
Okay,
Insurance on top of that.
just thought I would ask because
Okay,
That's my assumption, yeah, I can't say. But
move on to committee reports. Police chief, you want to talk anymore, or that was good enough?
That's good, unless
Okay,
you ask questions.
nobody from, is anybody here from the park board? No. Planning commission,
Yes, sir.
front and center.
Well, a couple of issues, from the, Plan Growth Committee with the county. Eric and Todd and I attended and, essentially by 2025, we have to, redo our growth management plan, and it's part of a countywide, population, projection. The states allows a certain piece of the pies to the county based on their own speculation as to what the population increase is going to be. And then the cities get together with the county, and the county then doles out population to the various cities. And part of the committee meetings are to determine what your real goal or what your real anticipated growth is going to be. It was interesting that they used historical data to project forward because they had no other info to do so. So they had us growing at approximately by 40 people by 2045, which is a little bit ridiculous since we have a 94 lot subdivision that's currently awaiting approval. And we're currently in that annexation process for several parcels of land, one of which is requesting upwards of 200 homes to be built. So over a series of meetings over the next several months, we'll be presenting, as you were told by your teacher in school, show your homework, show your work, and we'll present to them what real expectation we have for population growth for the city, and how we're basing that projection so that they can make determination. Another determination that will be made, and as part of the March meeting, will be that there is grant money available to help the cities build their growth management plan. And so we'll be participating in that meeting, of course, requesting that we be included in that grant to enable us to have funding for some additional help and presenting that plan. From the planning commission side, I'm not sure if you're all aware, but this council certainly is, that we're in the process of a 60% annexation of several parcels on the northeast side of town, I guess is what it is, or northwest side of town. Ostensibly driven by the Jolma property, which is where the residential growth would take place. But in addition to that, the Toledo Telephone Company wants to be part of the city, as well as the Ramsey property and a small piece of this Sorensen property. To anticipate what we're going to need as far as impact fees from those folks coming into the city limits, there is a group of consultants being paid for by the developers or by the annexees that are putting together reports to give us an idea of what the impact fees for the various districts, for the fire district, the school district, traffic mitigation, et cetera, will be required. And part of that consulting group is a gentleman who's the city director for the city of Kalama, but he's moonlighting on this side as a consultant. And he made a presentation to the planning commission last time, which gave us some idea of the anticipated growth in our available budget if those annexations take place. More information will follow, and of course, the full package will go to the city council with a recommendation from planning commission. But as a highlight of that, we took just the Jolma property and did not include the Cowlitz or the Cowlitz Meadows property, which is outside of the boundaries of their investigation of consulting group. So if you wanted to pro rata that up based on an additional 94 units, you could. essentially, with the increase in utility taxes, the increase in sales taxes, the increase in property taxes, it does not include the sewer and water hookups, which would be a separate item of probably around $2.5 million that would go into our capital reserve fund for the sewer and water departments. But associated with all the other costs, he anticipated just on the Goma property alone, possible increase of our budget of approximately $800,000 per year. We're living on a budget right now of $1.2 million, so that's quite an increase in our budget. And if you pro rata that into the Callis Meadows subdivision, you can see us in 5 years with Toledo and the commercial properties that are also part of that annexation, being in a position where we have a budget of somewhere closer to $2.5 million. And a lot of those budgetary items are going to be of the type that allow us to do things that we want to do rather than spearheaded for one particular purpose. That did not include building permits. Building permits alone, I would say, will probably generate in the neighborhood of $1.5 million in revenue. Now, those building permit fees are spendable only for building and planning, but they allow us to perhaps hire a building and planning clerk so that when somebody comes in from the street and says, I want to build a house, there's somebody to meet them, to take them through the county GIS, see if their lot's buildable, take them through the process of obtaining a building permit. Something that's always been relegated to staff, which that really has not the time to do that or the expertise. So we have very trained to actually do that. If we needed a utility clerk, that's something that could be paid for as part of the utility taxes that we're taking in. But things like office equipment, if we needed a blueprint printer, a computer for storage on software on the computers, things like that would all be available under those funds. And I think it would take us quite a bit of time to get to the point where we don't have a use for the building permit fund. So all in all, it was a very positive meeting. I think not only budgetary wise, but anticipating our future growth, which is going to happen or we will die, essentially. So that's what I have.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Steve.
So you've anticipated the revenues. Have you anticipated the expenses?
Well, that's what they're doing right now. They're trying to determine what the impact fees are going to be and what it's going to do to the city as far as traffic mitigation. The fire district, I think, wants a new firehouse, whether that's an improvement of the one that they have here, they build one separately. They, of course, along with the Callis Meadows folks, would be funding the extension of the water and sewer lines up into that area. The hookup fees alone are something that we certainly can use in the capital improvement budget. Traffic mitigation, I think, is going to be one of the big issues in traffic safety. Especially coming off Callis Meadows and Joma both are going to be across the street from each other. That leads us to the point where is the county going to require that we take that portion of road and that becomes part of the city, which I anticipate they would.
They will.
So
And you mentioned
a
school.
lot of pieces to the puzzle,
Mm-hmm.
but we're working on it. And we'll have a full report for the city council with everything I hope you need to make those decisions.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you.
Okay, the water and sewer street report, public hearing none, special presentation, there is none. Public comment on agenda items. Rachel, anybody sign up? Nobody signed up. We'll move on to new business. New business approval of second police officer. I'll entertain a motion for that. We can discuss it.
I make a motion that we approve a second police officer.
Second,
We moved in second. Discussion. Dana, you read over the pieces I just gave.
I read over the staff report on it. I read over the report on using certain funds that you had inquired of me about.
Mhm.
Seems like it's ready to go. I mean, it seems like the only question is whether you use those funds for that purpose. I'm taking that question answered. And so it's in your hands at this point.
Yeah, they're all general, they're all the front office funds so far. So it doesn't look like, we need to dip into anything odd, which is what we were talking about last time. Potentially, we can use ARPA funds if we find ourselves falling short. I'd like to think that we have a police car fund that we can tap into, but it's kind of hard to understand how the municipal budgeting works, because sometimes you have money that looks like you have money, but you don't. So
So we can get help if we need to understand that.
I'm hoping, yeah. I'm hoping- I'm hoping- yeah,
We can get help if we
Yeah.
need to understand that.
MRSC and AWC are very good sources and
Yeah,
do these
absolutely.
questions for us.
Yeah, uh-huh.
I did reach out to MRSC and they got back with me specifically about the ARPA funds.
Yeah.
That paper, I think that paper's there. Did I give
Oh,
it?
yeah, I reviewed that prior to this.
Okay.
And it's
That's
very
what I
much
said, so-
echoed,
Yeah.
my understanding as well, so.
Okay, all right, let's take a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No more new business, unfinished business, bargain barn rental agreement. I'd like to have Rachel speak on behalf of this before you council. So
Well, I,
there's some good ideas.
yeah, I talked to Scott
Rachel, stand up, please.
here, and he was kind of working with Matt a little bit. And I think there was a little bit of confusion between what council was offering and what he was wanting to bring in. His understanding was that he paid for any extra bills as far as the water and sewer went. But that electricity, since it wasn't gonna be on its own meter, would just be included. That was part of his $1,200. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Rachel, come this way.
I don't know if you want to add anything
There
to
you
that,
go.
but that is kind of like what we discussed.
Do we have a separate water meter?
Yes,
To my understanding, there is a separate one.
separate water meter back in the bathroom.
Is there a bathroom in there?
Yes,
Okay.
been remodeled a little bit by our foreman, Mike Fisher and
Awesome.
John Cravens.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but since the electricity isn't on its own meter, he felt that charging him $250 there was no way to really pinpoint how much electricity he'd actually be using or how much has actually been used. So when he originally put that bid out, the $1,200 was to include electricity. So that's, and again, I don't really have a say so in it. That's up for you guys to decide, but we did speak with an hour ago or something like that also.
So we're
The
gonna,
follow up on the email that I had forwarded to you, I believe.
have a month, so we'll get to see what the electricity bill is without the freezers back there. So that should help.
Correct.
That should help immensely.
Yeah, and then in understanding what the front office uses.
Well, there's no way of judging because we're all on the same circuit.
Yeah.
Of how much electricity we're gonna use. I don't think it's gonna be very much, but I'd like to prorate it if we could
Mhm.
for the first month and see how much. I don't know if we can, I don't even know if you can tag into that to see how much they're using because we're all in the same circuit.
And I think going off of what you guys talked about last meeting too, was it is a 3-month contract. So if at any point they want to back out at the end of the 3 months, they can. And if council decides that they want to back out at the end of 3 months, it will be written in the contract.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
all I have. for
Thank you,
now.
Rachel.
Yeah.
Now I'll entertain a motion for that
Wait a minute.
so we can discuss it.
Oh. I'll make a motion that we consider the Steins renting the available space in the back of City Hall.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Now we'll have discussion.
So I'm assuming you're not going to try to heat the whole thing because that seems like a plan of failure.
I think, yeah, we're just mostly thinking we're only gonna be really using lights. We don't use a lot of electricity where we're at now. And with what we do now, we only pay 700 flat, which includes literally all of our bills at the point we're at now.
Eric, I think the heat is on propane back there, was my understanding also.
Mhm. It's on-
Okay.
Yeah, so it's literally just lights.
And so then they would pay
It would be
the
any
actual,
additional bills.
the
yeah.
actual fee. Okay.
Correct, because I think that's the only part of the bill, and I'm not sure, it was my understanding that that's the only part of the building that runs off heat with propane.
So is everything inside there going to be taken out and then all your stuff is going to be put back in?
Everything inside there is taken out.
It's taken, I haven't been back in there,
It's
so I don't.
it's
I don't know.
empty.
It's empty, it's empty. Okay, yeah, I haven't been back in there, so I don't. Okay, cool. Yeah. I don't know. what's in there.
Does that offer the boundary that's what? 20 feet from the door into the usable space that you'd be using?
What do you mean?
Is
We're only using half of that space too.
Half of that room.
half of that room.
Half of
And so we take the shelves and move them.
With the shelving that was left there,
Right.
the shelving stuff that was left there, I think is this boundary of what he wants stuff. Anything else behind that is ours back here.
I just wanted to know if that
This part is
visual right
cleaned up.
now is stayed.
This part's all cleaned up.
No, that shelf will move that way more. I went in with, the treasurer thing, and we stepped it off, to where the halfway point is, so that shelf that's over this way would be pushed that way. But I forget how many feet, but roughly 20 feet or so.
Okay, so do we need an amendment to the motion? Or canceling maybe the electricity and the water and sewer?
$1,200 a month, prorated electricity with the city to be determined
That's
based
way
on
over,
usage.
Kathy.
I know. The prorated thing.
Can we prorate it to see what happens?
I-
Just let him.
I'd say let that ride for a month and see what difference it is from the last several months. It may be less anyway.
Well, we're coming up on that now, so we'll see what the difference, what our actual usage is with nothing back there.
Right.
Yeah, but it's only been a week or so.
But again, we still need to send it to the attorney
Well.
to do up the contract, so we
He
need
said
to decide what we're gonna do.
The paperwork I got, which you guys got it also in your pamphlets, that the attorney said we had to wait. Jim Buzzard said we had to wait until we got certification of what we're gonna charge him. So then he could write up a contract for that purpose.
Exactly.
That's what I just
The
said.
question I was talking about, that always comes to policy, is insurance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
insurance, I mean,
So, basically, as a council mayor, we all understand that when you go into a public-private, deal like this, city has to insist on there being some insurance. And what you're telling me, Mr. Mayor, is that that'll be forthcoming in a more
Yes,
formal proposal or an actual, something the budget can work with.
Yes.
Put it in writing.
yes.
It was just lacking the specifics, okay? There's more specifics in this than I've seen, so there you go.
So you'd be prepared then to provide the declaration of insurance of your policy?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
You have that ready to go?
Mhm.
Okay.
And we would probably at some point have to change insurances to a higher coverage.
Yeah.
Bigger space to have more.
yeah,
Oh,
We'd need a rider on your
Yeah.
insurance.
yeah. I think,
Or what?
A rider is what it's called,
Oh,
and naming us as beneficiaries.
That's fine.
so for now, we would drop that,
We gotta amend it. The motion or pass the motion
oh, I see,
first and then make an amendment.
okay.
Is that correct, Dana?
Well. Not technically, but what amendment is it that you want to make? Oh, that the
Electric be dropped.
1,200 will be inclusive of electricity.
Yes. Not separate.
Well, I think the proper way to do it would be to basically withdraw first motion, and then the second motion would be to, and I'm just suggesting the words, move the council to approve renting 3 months of the proposal of Mr. Stein, with the change in $1,200 per month would include electricity. Simple as that.
So I can do that.
You can move to withdraw.
Move to withdraw.
I would move to withdraw my previous motion.
Okay. And then what you do, no action then being taken on that. Go ahead and move to lease the property to Mr. Stein on the terms stated. with change that would be inclusive of the electrical.
I would like to motion then that we do,
Turn your speaker on. There you
I would like to move that we do rent the proposed property to Mr. Stein for $1,200 a month, and that would include any electricity that would be used. And it would be separate for the water and gas,
Correct.
and that he has his own insurance.
go. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved in second. Any more discussion on it?
Jamie, you were, I mean, Shelley, you were
Or is
against
it
it.
3 months?
I'm still gonna say no.
3
Do
months?
you want to, do you want to talk it out? Because, you know, you
Sorry.
you have an opportunity to change our mind as well, or? Okay,
No, it was stated last time. Shelley and I didn't speak up. Shelley disagrees with jumping into,
I spoke up and said that I disagree, yes.
yes, I didn't. And I'm with Shelley in that I don't think we should jump into a long term without examining our options.
Bet that 3 months is agreeable,
3 months is fine.
and that's all the motion is for. It wasn't stated.
Correct. Motions for 3 months. Let's vote on it. All in favor, say aye.
Nay,
you got to wait on
You
it.
spoke out of turn.
it said vote on it.
Yeah,
We're voting.
I say yay. And I
So,
say,
so what I recommend these guys, Mr. Mayor, is call for the voice vote, call
Yeah.
each council member,
Okay.
record their vote,
Sorry.
which they certainly are entitled to make, so.
Yeah.
Just call in order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eric,
Yes, I vote yes.
Shelley,
No,
Kathy,
Yes,
Emily,
Nay.
Jamie,
Yes,
Nothing personal.
sounds like a motion carried. Okay. Unfinished business ordinance number 778, Sprint franchise agreement. As I read it, an ordinance of the city of Toledo, Washington, granting a franchise to Sprint Communications Company LP of Delaware Limited Partnership to operate a telecommunication and the public rights of way to provide telecommunication services in the Toledo and repealing ordinances number 551. Entertain a motion for that.
I make a motion that we accept, or
This is actually,
wait, we need to.
we don't
change it.
actually have a motion here that we don't have an ordinance that we're accepting.
No, we need to change it, right?
And well, here's the question.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Johnson was pretty clear.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, to say,
Mhm.
basically, the question here with the franchise is going to be, here we are as a city, considering the fact that we don't have very much money.
Mhm.
You have these huge corporations coming in.
Taking advantage of
Skated
this,
in
yeah.
years ago, by the way, and I opposed just about every one of these from the small cities that I represented. Because I knew darn well they were gonna be raking in, tons of money, and they would just make a lot of noise about, well, okay. Fortunately, franchise tax, so they lowballed and lowballed. So I think in my view, I wouldn't, without further study, approve just a renewal of their franchise, because frankly, that train long left the station is hand wringing how these huge multinational corporations are going to lose money because we got to pay a few bucks for the franchise fee to go through your city. So I think we need to hear more specifics about, and there needs to be more negotiation about what that franchise fees will be, I do.
I also don't think we need to go into a 30-year agreement.
I know there's, and
I think 10's good.
I know 30 years ago, I mean, I was around when they did this thing. And what they did is they have a scheme.
Right.
If you do not approve this, you will not have fiber optics. That was their big thing. And then, the people with the bigger cities, flood that. They basically had to leave the departments that could do it. And they collect a lot of money for franchise fees. And guess what? Sprint's still here, you know, so they would be still here if they were making those millions and billions. So I'm just saying, I'm recommending an advice of caution and allow your city attorney to negotiate a better deal and probably what they're proposing. Just like the term, just like Councilman Leach talked about the term. They tend to tell you that the 30 years is required. No, it's not. It could be 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the negotiation about.
That'd be a short contract, wouldn't it, Steven?
You could make it yearly if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, that would be, it's a
That's
little
better.
short, but you know, the other thing is then every yearly council and the attorney's office and Sprint and everybody else has to start this all over again. 30 is a long time. I
30 is a
tend to agree with
long
you,
time.
members
Too
who
long.
express that concern,
Maybe 5 years.
and locking that in for a long time. It's been locked in for 30 years, and so the opportunity of the city to do any better, when the city, many of those years needed to do better, was not available to you.
Mhm.
So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So if we could do a 30-year with an exponential increase in percentage.
Well, there's all kinds of things. It's kind of like the union bargaining agreements, like way to reopen, so you don't have to reopen everything. You know, sometimes you give away something, in your collective bargaining agreement to limit your your next contract to reopening wages only. You know, and it's the same kind of thing with the franchise agreement. It's kind of like, and they try to sell, especially the smaller entities, with the idea that, oh, it has to be our way of the highway.
Yeah.
All right, we'll plug up all your stuff.
But their
Well,
cable's running through our town.
It is.
So we have the cloud.
There you go. That's my spiel. Let me shut up.
Thank you, Dan.
So we make a motion, we need to make a motion that allows you all to.
Can we,
Hey, really,
Go ahead.
just.
we don't need to just reject it. Am I right?
Reject it as-
Just reject the motion and it'll be brought up.
Reject the ordinance as written.
Is there
The
one-
The motion is to accept the ordinance. All you gotta do is reject.
Reject it.
So motion in a second, then a vote does it. Then we're back to negotiating with Sprint, okay?
Do I need to do individuals again?
Not necessarily. I mean, the last time there was some question of.
Okay.
counting the votes.
Ask for the ayes and then the nays.
I make a motion that we reject ordinance 778 as written.
Did we just say you don't have to make a motion?
Yeah, so
No.
reject it.
I
No.
think it's in front of you, and it's agenda item. I think it's appropriate that.
Make a motion. Okay.
Rejected, that's submitted.
Okay, go ahead, Eric.
I make a motion, we reject ordinance 778 as written and go back to renegotiate.
I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any more? Well, let's vote on that. Moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries and no more discussion.
Well, the discussion.
We already had,
Yeah,
Yeah,
was already.
we already had. the
maybe we need a
discussion.
workshop.
Well, he's already laid it out here.
Yeah.
Can't we just send it back to the attorney and say,
Right.
Yeah, we could.
incorporate this?
Yeah.
Something back to you. That's something with the city.
He's done a lot of the work in here already.
Yeah, so, I don't know, are you carrying this back to them or what? Are you carrying this back to them? Does
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Rachel need to send it?
Basically, I just advise him, I'll call
Because
tomorrow or the next day when I'm at work and say, listen, the council, you know, did not set up what Sprint is done, and they want to hear about the deal as far as franchise fee in particular, and perhaps a shorter term as well.
Yeah.
And so.
Like significantly shorter term,
I think I.
like
probably-
maybe 20 years shorter.
Yeah,
I
so
think that would be appropriate.
I think Dana, back in the day, that used to be called shorthand.
Oh, okay.
I think 30 years is a long time.
Anyway, Dana will take care of it.
Yep. Written note.
Any other unfinished business? How about other business?
The chief wants to add something to other business.
Pardon me?
The chief wants to add something to other business.
Add another unfinished business?
Other business.
Other business. Okay, Chief.
Bill. Mark. Mark. Man. Yes, sir. I just want to introduce Bill kind of to the community and also since we're live, just take a couple minutes real quick to just kind of let them know what you came up with today as far as this community crime deterrent focus. Okay.
Most of you probably don't know who I am. I'm actually from Toledo. I'm 68, graduate of Toledo High School.
Nice.
Okay, as the chief said, I served both in the Navy, most of my time aboard submarines, nuclear power submarines, but also in the Marine Corps as an MP.
Nice.
Got a degree in law enforcement, and when this came about, I said, you know what, I said, I'm really too old to do much of anything else, so maybe I can do something for the public here. And so, anyway, we've come up with some ideas. We're looking at trying to do a better job in our patrolling, especially with you passing the opportunity to interview and hopefully hire a second full-time officer is going to make a lot of difference. But also having some volunteers to be out in the community here, being visible. What I would like to see is I'd like to see the town kind of divided in either in thirds or in fourths, depending on how many people will step forward and help out on this. And this would just kind of be their area that they're going to get out and they're going to learn and work with these people out there, providing whatever help is necessary. We're going to do some training. We're looking at doing a rotational basis with the churches. Chief and I were out Sunday, most of the day on Sunday, in fact, out there, and we visited with all 4 churches here in town. 3 of the churches responded immediately and said, yes, we think it's a wonderful idea. We would be happy to have you come in and give lessons with an instructor that is qualified to do this. And this basically is dealing with self-defense for not only the older women, but also for the young ladies and also for children. Okay, and this was kind of a 2-pronged thing. I hadn't thought about this. The chief brought it up, and this was a good not a ploy, but a good opportunity to address a need that the churches have, and that is to raise their numbers. Okay, if the numbers are down, then church, we can see it ourselves just being out. And as the chief mentioned, that here's an opportunity for us to bring something in that everybody would probably be interested in. And maybe these people in turn would be interested maybe in going, maybe not to this particular church, but maybe to another one. And this would be open, that all the churches would be open, not only to those people that are of that denomination, but also basically anybody. Okay, they would be able to come in and attend this. Okay, we're looking at having educational classes on the problem with dogs in the community. Now, I live outside the city limits, okay, but not far. I live right on Sorrel Road, right by the mission. And so I'm really close by, but I understand that there is a problem with dogs. What we want to do is to educate the public on the ordinance within the city limits. We want to educate them on better maybe handling techniques, work with them on proper ways maybe to secure their animal, and then also offer our assistance if they need it. Okay.
I think one of the things we talked about was the community crime deterrent program. If there's somebody that needs a fence built for their place to keep their dog in place, we could all come together as a community,
Right.
that person, that fence in place.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, okay, is to get the community involved, and we hope to get the community involved by us being out and making ourselves visible. And we've got a golden opportunity. Kind of talk about our new items that is visible that we're able to use.
Well, I think we got to speed it up a little bit. So we have 1 patrol car that's fully outfitted in March. That'll be available.
Yeah.
He'll be driving that. We have 2 drones. I have known nothing about drones. My drone was that little plane that you flew when you were a little kid. But apparently, we have 2 brand new drones, I think, and we have how many bicycles?
We've got about 6 or 7 bicycles. Okay, and they appear to be all large bicycles that were used in law enforcement. They have some markings on them already in very nice condition. So just going through this, so not only do we have the car, but we got the bicycles, we got the drones. Okay, we're in hopes to have
Uniforms, we'll have
uniforms, and also hopefully some sort of an arm banded on here. So when we go up knock on someone's door and say, geez, can we have some of your time? We want to talk to you on there. They can actually see that we are honest and we're not trying to sell something.
All right. And so the method to the madness, again, thank you, City Council and Mr. Mayor for approving the second police department position is that you're actually going to have 3 officers. Okay, because he's going to be the 3rd once we get him through the reserve academy and recertified. And the goal is again to provide safety for the city of Toledo. So once Bill's been through the academy, but it's been so long that we have to put him back through another reserve academy, refresher course. Once he gets all that done and he meets the requirements, then he'll be our 3rd additional officer that you'll see in the area. And I think that's a good thing for the city. So thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
And I'll still be maintaining, you know, the volunteers if at all possible. Okay, thank you.
But we
very much.
do him more as a Marine than Navy. I mean,
Or be underwater in a tiny.
just kidding.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
More importantly, he's a Toledo High School graduate.
Yeah, 60.
Yeah.
He
So we're
graduated
excited.
68. I was a freshman in 68. They played his band right next to him. Played trumpets. Anyway,
I never appreciate both of you.
oh, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Anyway, that's all I got. Public, open for anything you want to say. Otherwise, we'll adjourn.
No, I have a couple housekeeping things. The bargain barn, I think you have to respond to our attorney. He was requesting some information, so in order to
I'll
wrap
get
that
it
up.
tomorrow. I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay. And the other thing is, what is our publication of record? I'm not aware of what it is.
Which newspaper does the city publish? Notice?
That's what I'm asking.
Chronicle.
That's your question.
Chronicle.
The Chronicle.
That's it.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Moving to second, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for coming, everybody.
Hot dog. Thanks for being here.